This video is going to go over the different trackers this program provides. Up at the top you see there's the child support tracker, child care payment tracker, and the medical expenses trackers. We'll start here with the child support. You can start by putting in the case number. Come over here and add the parties' names. And right here you'll see that it has 2013, but you can scroll back if you want to calculate any type of arrears, or if you need to go forward for any reason, you can also do that. But basically the child support tracker starts off summarizing each month what's due and what's paid and what is still owed, and then it comes down here and it'll summarize it into kind of a yearly snapshot. Let's say for January 2013, the order was for $500. It was due the 1st of January, and the parent only paid $300. They paid that on, let's say, the 5th of the month, and they used a check, and you can go ahead and throw in the check number. So you see that you have the balance of $200 that wasn't paid. Let's scroll down to February. Order amount hasn't changed. Still due the 1st of the month. Let's say this time the parent overpaid and actually paid $600, and they paid that the 5th, and they paid cash this time. You'll notice you can also select garnishment if there's a wage assignment in place. But what you'll do is you'll go through and fill out that information for each month. Let's say March, there's $500 due again. Again, it's due on the 1st, and let's say they paid $200 on the 5th with cash, and then they paid $100 on the 20th with a check. So for each month it'll calculate whether there's a balance or if there is extra money, and then if you scroll down here it'll give you a summary of each month, and this last column actually calculates the interest based on the 12% per year, and it will keep a running total of what is owed at the end of the year. So you see you get the $100 credit for February where there's an overpayment, and then it will just continue to calculate throughout the year, which makes for a great summary if you need it for court or any other reason. And then you can also export this to Excel into a spreadsheet, so if there's anything that you want to personalize or add or remove, you definitely have the ability to do that. We'll come over here to the child care payment tracker. Again, you can add the case number, party names, and this just lets you keep a running total of expenses for child care. You can add the child's initials. Let's say this was in May of this year, and let's say it was Nana's nursery, and for May it was $300 for the month, and it was paid 5/1. 2012. Let's say based on the court order, the custodial parent is responsible for 25%, non-custodial is responsible for 75%, and then it also allows you to track when the non-custodial parent was made aware of the payment. So let's say on 5/1 is when the custodial parent gave the non-custodial parent notice, and let's say non-custodial parent paid on 5/15, and let's say they paid only $150. So it'll give you the outstanding balance of 75 that the non-custodial parent still owes. And then you can also click yes or no if you have documentation to back up this claim. And then if you hit enter, you can go and just go ahead and enter the next child care cost, whether it's for that same child or a different child, and you'll just go through and continue each square to put in the necessary information. And again, this can be exported to Excel. So if there are any columns you would like to remove or anything that you would like to add, you can do that. Finally, we have the unreimbursed medical expenses tracker. Again, you have the case number, party names, and you can scroll back and forth for the years. And you'll start by putting in the child's initials, say the date of service is, it'll automatically pop up with today's date, but you can obviously edit that. We'll go ahead and stick with today's date. Provider, let's say it was from Norton Hospital, and the statement date. Well, let's change the date of service to 7/1, and the statement date is 7/15. And let's say the cost of the service was $5,000. This is information that you can typically pull off of an EOB. Some EOBs are so different, it's hard to really nail down what exactly you may or may not need. Let's say there was a $100 copay, and say that you do have proof of the copay, you have the receipt. And let's say the custodial parent made the copay, but there is the option, if the non-custodial parent is the person who took the child to the doctor or the provider, that can be switched. And let's say based on the EOB, you wind up receiving insurance paid $2,000. Let's make it $3,000. And let's say the EOB says that out of pocket, the parent's responsibility for the remaining balance is $1,000. So that means total, with the copay included, the total out of pocket for the parents is $1,100. And let's say, just like our child care, custodial parent is 25% responsible based on the court order, and NCP is 75% responsible. You can give the date that it was paid, or I'm sorry, presented to the other parent. Payment by the custodial parent was $100, and that was would have been the date of service. So 7/1 is when the custodial parent paid the $100 copay. Let's say payment was made by non-custodial parent. Let's say he paid $500. Say that was paid on the 21st when he was given notice. So it calculates that the non-custodial parent's balance is this 250 figure. And then again, you can say if you have documentation to prove all of this. And if you want to add another child, you can go ahead and just hit enter, and a new line is populated. So some of this information may not be on an EOB, some of it very much will be. Again, you can export this to Excel to tweak any of the columns that you see fit, if you want to add any, subtract any, but the basic idea is to keep track of which child it's for, the date of service, who the provider is, statement date, any copay amounts, and then what insurance is paying and what the parent's ultimate responsibility is going to be. And then it allows you to calculate the split and figure out who has paid what, how much has been paid, and what is still owed. And again, it'll keep running totals. A neat thing about this is that according to KRS 403-211-9, the custodial parent has a responsibility of $100, and then once that 100 has been met, that is when the custodial parent and non-custodial parent start to divide based on their responsibilities per the court order. So this goes ahead and it takes out that $100 from the non-custodial parent's outstanding balance, to make sure that the custodial parent is paying that 100 as required by the statute. But those are the trackers. If you have any suggestions or questions, please feel free to email us. You can find our contact information on KentuckyChildSupport.com. Thank you.